The colony market was busy. Traders shouted. Children ran between stalls. Drones buzzed overhead. Jack moved quietly, like always. He wasn't there to talk. He came for food, fuel, and maybe a spare filter for his water system. Life on Colony 7 was hard but quiet, and he liked it that way, until he saw her. She was sitting on the ground near the edge of the market wall, wrapped in a thin, torn gray cloak. Her hands were bare. Her skin was pale blue, cracked in places. Her eyes, large and glowing faintly purple, were sunken. People walked past her. Some looked at her with disgust. Others didn't look at all. She wasn't asking for money. She wasn't even speaking, just sitting, silent. But her eyes watched every loaf of bread, every piece of fruit that passed by. Starving. Jack stopped walking. He didn't plan to. Something inside him just paused. He watched her. She didn't notice him at first. Then, slowly, her eyes met his. For a second, he expected fear or shame. But what he saw shocked him. Sadness, deep, endless, and a question in her eyes. "Why would you look at me?" He walked over. Careful. Slow. Not too close. She didn't move. Didn't speak. Just looked at him. "Are you hungry?" Jack asked gently. She nodded, once. Slowly. "What do you eat?" She blinked, then said, voice hoarse, broken. "Warm." That was it. Not meat, not fruit, not rations, just that one word. Warm. Jack looked around. He had a hot pack in his bag. It wasn't much, just a protein roll, heat activated, but it was warm. He pulled it out and kneeled beside her. Unwrapped it, slowly held it out. She didn't grab it. She stared at it, then at him. "Why?" she whispered. "Because you need it. No one gives for nothing. I'm not no one." She took the food with both hands. She held it close, not to eat it, but to feel the heat. Then, very slowly, she took a bite. Her lips trembled. Tears welled in her strange alien eyes. She didn't cry, but Jack knew what it meant. "When did you eat last?" "I don't remember." "Do you have a place to stay?" She shook her head. "Where are your people?" "Gone." Jack sat on the ground beside her. People stared. One man walked by and scoffed. "Feeding strays now, Jack?" Jack didn't respond. He just looked at her. "What's your name?" "Jara." "I'm Jack." A long silence followed. Then she said softly, "You should not be near me. I am nothing." Jack stood up and reached out a hand. "Come on." "Where?" "Home." She hesitated, looked at his hand, then at her own trembling fingers. "You do not want me in your home. That's for me to decide." She took his hand. It was small in his, cold, but real. That night Jack gave her soup. Not much, but hot. She cried again, without sound. Then she sat on the floor near his couch. Didn't ask for a bed, didn't ask for anything, just warmth. Jack gave her a blanket. She held it close like it was treasure. "I will leave tomorrow," she whispered, "only if you want to." "I don't want to. But that's how this always ends." Jack didn't reply. He just dimmed the light and whispered, "Not this time." Outside, the desert winds howled. Inside, for the first time in years, Jara felt safe. Morning came with golden light through the window. Jack poured hot water into a metal kettle. The old stove hissed. The smell of tea and fresh heat filled the room. Jara sat near the wall, knees pulled to her chest, eyes watching everything, but saying nothing. She hadn't moved much since last night, only shifted once to wrap the blanket tighter. She didn't ask for anything, didn't look angry, didn't smile, just existed. Jack placed a bowl on the table. Bread, a boiled egg, a bit of dried meat, simple food. He turned to her. "You hungry again?" Jara looked at the bowl, then at him. Is it for me? Of course, she hesitated. Even though I didn't earn it? You don't have to earn food, you're alive, that's enough. She stood slowly, carefully, as if waiting for something to stop her. Nothing did. She walked to the table, sat down, and picked up the bread. Her hands shook slightly. She took one small bite, then stopped and began to cry. Not loud, not messy, just silent, tears rolling down her cheeks. Jack froze. Hey, is something wrong with it? Jara shook her head. It's warm. She placed a hand on the side of the bowl like it was a flame she wanted to keep. I don't remember the last time I ate food that wasn't from a trash bin or cold from a packet. Jack sat down across from her. Well, now you do. She didn't eat fast. She ate slow, like every bite was something holy, like it was the first time she was allowed to feel full. She wiped her mouth with her sleeve, then paused, looked around. You have cloth. Yeah, it's just an old towel. He handed it to her. She took it with both hands, held it like it was something rare. Where I came from, even this would be fought over. She finished her food and sat back, still not smiling, but softer now, calmer. Why are you being kind to me? She asked. Jack shrugged. Because I can. That's not normal. Maybe the world needs more people who aren't normal. She tilted her head. You are strange. You're not the first to say that. A few hours later, Jack worked in the yard, fixing a solar panel. When he came inside again, Jara had cleaned the dishes. Not just hers, all of them. The table too. And the floor, quietly. No noise, no mention. He just stood there watching her wipe the last corner. You didn't have to do that. She turned to him. I know. So why did you? Because I'm still here. That night she sat near the fire again, this time, closer, still quiet, still careful, but not distant. Jack handed her a cup of tea. It's sweet. Found some leaf root powder in storage. Jara took a sip, paused. This is not water. It's better. She stared into the cup. Better is dangerous. Why? Because then you miss it when it's gone. Jack didn't speak for a moment, then said, Then let's make sure it stays. That night, Jara didn't sleep on the floor. She didn't ask. Jack just placed a thin mattress near the wall, covered in soft sheets. She stood staring at it for a long moment, then whispered, If I sleep there, I may not wake up. You will. And if I dream of being safe, only to find it gone? Jack looked her in the eyes. Then I'll still be here when you wake up. She lay down slowly, stiff, at first, then still, then a breath. A deep one. The kind you take when your chest hasn't felt peace in a long, long time. That night, for the first time in years, Jara didn't dream of chains. She dreamed of bread, and firelight, and a man who looked at her, like she wasn't a burden. 3 days passed. Jara hadn't left Jack's house once. She moved quietly, ate slowly, cleaned when no one asked. She never raised her voice. She never asked for more. But still, the colony had noticed. At the parts shop, Jack waited for a coolant tube. Brett, the supply clerk, leaned over the counter. Heard you picked up something strange, Jack. Jack didn't look up. I picked up someone hungry. She's not one of us. You know that, right? She's not hurting anyone. Not yet. Jack looked at him now. Calm, firm. If she wanted to hurt me, she had 3 nights and a kitchen full of sharp things. Brett scoffed. Just don't come crying when she robs you blind. On the way home, someone else muttered as Jack passed. Feeding aliens now? He'll regret it. She'll bleed him dry. The voices followed him like dust in the wind. But when Jack opened his door and saw Jara quietly sewing a tear in his old chair, all that noise disappeared. That evening, Jara served him tea before he even asked. "You look tired," she said softly. He smiled. "You always watching me?" "Only when you forget to watch yourself." He sat down with a sigh. "The colony's not happy you're here." Jara nodded. "They weren't happy I existed before either. You don't deserve this." "I don't deserve much." "That's not true." She blinked slowly. "You're the first person who said that like they mean it." Later that night, Jack stood at the storage shed. He pulled out spare wood, old sheets, and a thin foam mattress. When he returned to the house, Jara was already standing at the door. "What is that?" she asked. "Your bed." "I sleep fine on the floor." "Not anymore." "I'm not your guest, Jack." "You're not a guest." He carried the parts inside, ignoring her protests. "You live here now. People who live here get a bed." Jara watched as he worked. No big speech, no pity, just hands that nailed and tightened and smoothed rough corners. He worked past midnight, and when it was done, it wasn't fancy, but it was hers. She stepped forward and ran a hand across the blanket. "I never had one of these," she whispered. "You do now." She turned to him. "Why do you keep doing this?" "Because every time I do, you stop looking like you're ready to disappear." The next day, the whispers got louder. Jack walked into the trade hall. 2 councilmen called him over. "You're making people uncomfortable." "By feeding someone?" "By housing her. She's done nothing wrong. She's not from here. Her kind were trained to manipulate, seduce, steal. She hasn't even left the house." "Exactly. What's she planning?" Jack folded his arms. "I'll tell you what she's planning. Tonight she'll make dinner, fold the towels, and sleep in the bed I built her. That's her big plan." The men exchanged looks. Jack walked away. When he got home that night, he found something on the table, a folded cloth. Inside, 3 fresh-baked rolls. He hadn't baked them. Jara came from the kitchen, wiping flour off her hands. "I found a recipe on the house console." "You used my oven?" "It was there." "You cooked?" She looked nervous. "I thought I should give something back." Jack took a bite. He smiled. "You just made peace bread." She blinked. "Is that a thing?" "It is now." That night, she slept in her bed. He peeked in once before turning in. She was already asleep, one hand resting on her blanket, a quiet smile on her lips. And Jack thought, let them whisper. This house has never been more alive. The weather had turned colder, not freezing, but enough that Jack brought out the heavier coats, the ones that smelled like oil and firewood. He tossed one across the couch toward Jara. "You'll need this. The wind cuts deep in these parts." She caught it awkwardly, held it up like it was made of gold. "This is for me?" "Of course, I don't wear it much anyway." Jara looked down at the coat in her hands, then back at him. "I don't understand." "It's a gift." She tilted her head. "What do I give you for it?" "Nothing, that's the point." She blinked slowly. "That's not how gifts work." Jack frowned. "It is here." That night he returned from checking the fence, wind blowing sharp, fingers half frozen. He stepped inside, quiet, tired, stopped. Jara stood in the middle of the room. The coat he gave her was folded neatly on the table, and she wasn't wearing much at all. Her eyes lowered, hands shaking, voice low. "This is what I give back." Jack stared. "Jara, what are you doing?" "You gave me warmth, I give you warmth. Isn't that what I'm for?" No, that's not what you're for." She looked confused, scared, ashamed. "You gave me food, a bed, clothes. I have to give something. You don't owe me anything. But I was trained this way, raised this way. If I don't offer, I'm nothing." Jack stepped forward carefully. "You're not nothing. You will change your mind." "No, You'll get tired of kindness. Never. He grabbed a blanket from the couch and gently wrapped it around her shoulders. She clutched it tightly, shaking, not from cold, but from memory. Jack led her to the couch. They sat. No words for a while, only silence. Then, "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Don't be. I thought I had to. I know. It's how it always was. Trade, obey, please. Not here." He looked at her. "Here. Gift means one thing." "What?" "It means I want you to stay." She looked at the coat again, then back at him. "And if I never give you anything, you already have." "What did I give?" He smiled. "Your trust." Jara wiped her face with the blanket. "That's not worth much." "It is to me." "Why?" "Because I know how hard it is to give." Later that night, Jack placed the coat back in her hands. This time she held it tighter. Not like a trade, not like a signal, but like a gift. She whispered, "Thank you." And this time, her voice didn't shake. The next morning, Jack woke up to the smell of stew. Jara stood at the stove, stirring slowly, humming something soft. "You're cooking?" "You gave me warmth," she said, "so I learned how to make it." He smiled. "Is it a gift?" She turned, smiled just a little. "No, it's just kindness." The sirens woke them, short, sharp blasts. Not like weather warnings. This was a raid. Jack jumped out of bed and grabbed his boots. Jara stood frozen in the hallway, eyes wide, coat slipping off her shoulders. "Stay inside," Jack said. "What's happening?" "Scavenger gang, bandits. They hit weak towns, steal power cores and food." "Are they armed?" "Always." Jara stepped forward. "I can help." "No, you stay here. Hide." Jack ran out the door. The sky was red from smoke. Fires already climbing over the trade station roof. Screams echoed, shots fired from the northern wall. He ran toward the chaos, toward the ones he once called neighbors, now shouting, running, bleeding. He reached the central gate. Brett, the supply clerk, lay injured near a broken wall panel. Jack pulled him to cover. "Where are the others?" "Gone, hiding." "It's bad, Jack. There's too many." Then, a blast. Jack didn't see where it came from. Just heat, noise, light, and darkness. He hit the ground, couldn't move. Breathing hurt, blood on his side. This is it, he thought. This is where it ends. Then, a shadow fell over him. Not a bandit, not death. Jara. She dropped beside him, shaking, eyes wild. "You're bleeding." "Why? Are you here?" "You gave me a bed." "That doesn't mean... It means you're mine now." Another blast tore through the air. Jara didn't run, didn't flinch. She covered Jack with her own body, cloak spread wide, arms braced around him. "Get down," someone shouted. "I am down," she whispered. "Jara, shh, let me protect you." The world burned for a few more minutes. Then, silence. Sirens off. Gunshots faded, dust settled, and the scavengers were gone. When Jack opened his eyes again, he saw Jara still holding him. She was cut, her shoulder bleeding. But she was alive, and so was he. The medics arrived, voices blurred, hands lifted him. He passed out. He woke later in the recovery tent, pain in his side, bandage wrapped tight, and Jara, sitting quietly by his side, her arms scratched, her eyes tired, but she didn't move. She just held his hand. He looked at her. "You saved me. You saved me first. You should have run." "I did." "What?" She smiled softly. "I ran to you." That night, the fire still burned outside the town's edge. But inside the quiet room, something else burned warmer. Not survival, not fear. Love, the kind that doesn't need permission, or words, or reason. The message came 2 days after the raid. A shuttle touched down at the colony's edge, sleek, silver, quiet like a ghost. Jara stood by the window as it landed. Her hands didn't shake, but her breath did. Jack walked in from the back room, drying his hands. "Visitors?" "Not for you," she said softly. "They're for me." The door knocked once. Jara opened it. A tall alien stepped inside, same species as her, dressed in official robes. Two more stood behind, silent. He gave a small bow. "Jara, you are marked as missing, possibly dead." "I survived." "We know. We monitored this colony after the raid, and we saw you." Jack stepped beside her, cautious. "Who are you?" "Her people. She has people now." Jara looked down. "He speaks for me." The alien nodded slowly. "Your clan has been restored. New leadership. You are offered return, full status, a title." "Why now?" "We failed before. We see that." "And if I return?" "You will be respected." "And if I stay?" The alien paused. "Then you choose a life beneath what you were born for." Jack didn't speak. He just watched Jara, carefully, lovingly. Later that evening, the house was silent again. Jara sat at the table, staring at the travel scroll. The invitation was real, a better life, a safer one. But her heart wasn't calm. Not at all. Jack poured her tea. Didn't say a word, until she whispered, "They gave me a name again." "Did you forget it?" "No, but I stopped thinking it mattered." Jack sat down. "Does it?" Jara looked at him, eyes uncertain. "But then," she asked, the question that held her whole world, "Jack, am I still yours?" He didn't smile, didn't blink. He just said softly, "You were never not." Her breath caught. "Even if I leave?" "Still. Even if I go home to another world?" "You're already home." She covered her face, for a second wiping her eyes, then asked, "If I stay, will you still want me?" He leaned forward. "You chose me during the fire." "Because I was afraid to lose you. And I'll choose you now, even if the whole galaxy stands against it." The next morning, the shuttle prepared for departure. The alien envoy waited. Jara approached quietly, scroll in hand. "I thought I'd feel proud returning." "You should. But I don't." The alien raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "Because the woman you lost, she's not the same one standing here." She held out the scroll, then let it fall into the envoy's hand. "Tell them Jara doesn't return. She arrived somewhere else." She turned, walked back to the man waiting for her. Jack opened the door as she approached. No words, just open arms. And for the first time in years, Jara walked toward love, not away from it. That night, she wore the coat he gave her. The fire was warm, the house quiet, and Jara looked up at Jack and said, "Thank you for not giving me away." He smiled. "You gave yourself back to me." The days were quieter now. The market was rebuilt. The colony healed, and so did she. Jara spent her mornings in the garden patch, planting seeds Jack never bothered with. Her hands still trembled sometimes, but never like before. Not with fear, just with feeling. One evening the sun was low, the sky a soft pink. Jack stood near the fence fixing a broken post. Jara came with a cloth and a tin cup. "You missed dinner," she said. "I wasn't hungry." She held out the cup. "But you're thirsty." He took it. Their hands touched for a second longer than needed. "Thanks," he said. She didn't smile, just tilted her head. "You're different now. So are you. You used to fix machines. Now I fix fences." "And hearts?" He chuckled softly. only the ones that stay. That night the stars blinked clear. They sat, on the porch. No words for a while, just the sound of wind through old wood. Then Jack cleared his throat. Nervous. Jara noticed. What is it? He reached into his pocket, pulled out something small. Not a ring, not gold. Just an old compass. Cracked glass. Rusty edges, but still pointing north. This, he said, was my dad's. It's broken, still works, enough to find home. He turned to her, held it out. And it led me to you. Jara stared at the compass, then at him. What are you doing? He dropped to one knee, no speech, no crowd, just two people in the dark, and one question. Jara, will you stay? She blinked. Stay? Not as a guest, not as someone I saved, but as someone I want beside me every morning, every night. Her voice cracked. I don't know how to be a wife. I don't know how to love anyone else. She knelt too, took the compass, pressed it to her chest. You don't need to ask again. Then you're saying yes? She nodded, smiling softly through tears. I was yours before you asked. They didn't call it a wedding, no rings, no paper, just a shared cup of tea, two names on one toolbox, and the echo of laughter in a house that once only held silence. The colony didn't say much. Some still whispered, but most smiled now. Because when Jack walked by, he wasn't alone, and Jara didn't hide. She had once been nothing, unwanted, discarded, but now she was his and he was hers, not by law, not by blood, but by choice.